Halo Sobat Aspirasi, welcome back to the Aspirasi Podcast with me Angel Tananda. And today we would like to talking about cultural call, kulik asik bahasa, sastra, dan budaya with our special guest star today, Mr. Grady.
Hello.
Hello, so please introduce yourself, sir.
Sure. Hi. My name is Grady Mitchell. I am a lecturer in English literature and English education here at Brawijaya University. And I've been teaching here for about 3 years.
Oh, right, 3 years. So yeah, as he mentioned before that he is a lecturer, one of the young lecturer at University of Brawijaya, especially who teaches at the Faculty of Cultural Studies, especially the English Literature Department. And he is my lecturer ya, Sobat Aspirasi. Dan beliau ini adalah dosen Angel di kelas speaking class. Wow, it's quite nervous ya, oh my gosh. But also I'm so exciting to speak and sharing with you, Sir Grady. Alright, we move on to the first questions. How long have you been in Indonesia, Sir Grady?
So I've been in Indonesia since 2019. So it's been almost 6 years now, which is really
Before
hard for me.
Before COVID-19, right?
Yeah.
All right.
I really cannot believe it.
All right. So it's been a quite while, right? Harusnya berarti sudah bisa bahasa Indonesia
Bisa.
dong ya? Bisa, wow. Are you able to speak Indonesian or maybe Japanese? Japanese, no?
A little bit.
A little
I can
bit.
speak a little bit.
Could you give the example? Just one sentence.
Like informal Japanese or like kromo inggil? Like,
Or whatever
okay.
you are.
Yeah. Like ngomong ini iso sithik.
Oh, ngomongin so city. Wow, that's so cool. And in Indonesian maybe?
Ya kalau bahasa Indonesia ya sering sih
Oh,
pakai
sudah
bahasa
lancar.
Indonesia kalau di luar
Wow.
kelas. Kalau di dalam kelas ya biasanya pakai bahasa Inggris.
Oke, wow, it was so cool ya. Kalau udah melokal kayak gini nih ya, Sobat Aspirasi, kayaknya Angel harus merubah panggilan gitu ya. Kalau di bahasa Indonesia biasanya dipanggil Pak atau Kak gitu. Or maybe in Japanese, I would like to call you Mas Grady maybe.
Yeah.
Is it okay?
Yeah, it's okay. Outside of
No, I'm just kidding, sir. Pardon me. All right, so back to the topic. Where are you from, Sir Grady?
So I am from the US.
Okay.
That's where I grew up. So until I was around 24, I lived most of my life in the United States, and then I've been living here. So almost half of my adult life has been in Indonesia.
Oh, I see. All right. So how did you get started to studying here?
So originally I came here because a friend had recommended this program called Dharma Siswa. Now, I don't know if it exists anymore, but last year it was still an ongoing program. Basically, it's a Bahasa Indonesia. It's an Indonesian language program that's open to people from almost any country in the world. You can apply for this program. It's at the time it was ran by the Ministry of Education and Culture, Kemendikbud. And that in that program, right, you get basically a 10-month or a 12-month Bahasa Indonesia language immersion program. So that's how I first originally got here to Indonesia, was because I applied for that program.
All right.
I started learning to speak Indonesian while I was applying, and then thankfully I was accepted, and I came here to Brawijaya University, and since then, I'm still here.
Wow. All right. So why do you choose University of Brawijaya?
So originally I had asked people, okay, what university is the best?
Wow.
And some of my friends said, okay, the Brawijaya. Well, there were some other places too that they recommended, but I also chose Brawijaya because I heard, okay, in Malang it's less crowded than maybe other big cities, and the weather is cooler. So those were some reasons why I applied here and not to other universities.
Alright, so ya, as we know ya, Sobat Aspirasi, beliau adalah salah satu lulusan dari Universitas Brawijaya di linguistik dan juga one of the best student at the Faculty of Cultural Studies. In which period, sir?
That I graduated or started?
Graduated.
Yeah, so I started in 2020, my master's program in linguistics here, and then I graduated in 2022.
2022, alright, wow. It was so great achievement, yeah? So how did you can be a lecturer here?
Yeah, so as I was doing my program, I originally did not think that I was going to become a lecturer. I didn't have that. I didn't even think I was going to get a master's degree when I was in S1, when I was an undergraduate student. But I had some lecturers in the US at the time. They encouraged me. They said, "Oh, you should go get a PhD." Yeah, it was just strange for me because I never saw myself in that position. And then suddenly, after I was doing this Bahasa Indonesia program, I took the master's program here and I was able to complete it. Somehow that happened. And as I remember when I had just had my judicium, I don't know what that is in English, but when I just basically finished my studies but had not officially graduated yet, I had two lecturers, one of them being my advisor, encouraged me to apply to work here to teach English. And so, I sent in my letter to the dean of the faculty, and sometime later I had an interview, a discussion with people in the faculty, and I was invited to teach. And since then, I've been here.
All right. So where did you study your undergraduate degree and what major?
So I studied for my undergraduate degree. I studied at a university called California State University.
All right.
California State University, San Marcos. In California, we have two university systems. We have the California State University and University of California. So maybe you might have heard of UC Berkeley or UCLA. Those are some famous universities in the US. Those are part of the California government has its own universities. Just like it would just be, for example, if in East Java you had Malang University, right, or
Surabaya.
East Java University Malang, East Java University, right, Surabaya, something like that.
So what major do you take in your
Oh
S1?
yes, sorry,
It's okay. It's okay.
So I took usually I tell people linguistics. Technically, it wasn't that. It was a special major, which basically in the US we have this concept: if there's not a major that fits your needs, you can get like a major that's
in general.
That's specific to what you're focusing on. So in my major, it was called world languages, but really it was
languages.
I took some German classes, a couple Spanish classes, and then I took linguistics courses, and that became one major. So for me, basically, it's linguistics and foreign languages. That's what I took.
So it's still related to the linguistic, right?
Yeah. So I learned. It just wasn't a full linguistics major at the time, but I got the general exposure to the basic concepts.
All right. So what are the general differences between studying abroad and here? Wow.
Yeah.
Kita cari tahu dulu ya, Sobat Inspirasi. Yes.
Yeah. So I mean, there are a lot of differences I think that you could find. Let's just say one example is the number of classes that you'll have to take. That varies. So if you go study abroad, you're gonna find some differences. I was really surprised when I first came here, and I heard from before I even became a lecturer. I just remember hearing from some friends who were still doing their undergraduate program, who are friends in Indonesia, who told me that they had in one semester they had to take maybe 10 classes or even 12 classes. And to me, I was just shocked because in the US, and from what I've heard in maybe in the UK and Australia, it's also usually in one semester, you only take like 5 classes in a semester, maybe 4 or 3. And so the number of units in Bahasa Indonesia, you call it SKS. Right?
SKS,
we call it units or credits. And the number of units that I would take in a semester, if I wanted to graduate in 4 years, usually is about 15.
Whoa.
Right, which I know in Indonesia that sounds like it's so little, but for me when I came here, like, and I know it's not just in Brawijaya, right? It's all over Indonesia. Like 24 units, like that's how do you focus?
So many classes,
How do you focus on what to learn? I mean, for me, even I've taught like I think 21, 22 units in one semester, and even for me, teaching that amount of classes is already like I have to like wait. Okay, which class am I teaching today? Oh yes, okay, this one.
So confusing, right?
Yeah.
All right. So how was your experience while studying for your master degree in University of Brawijaya?
Yeah. So it was a bit unique because I started during the COVID pandemic.
Yeah.
And I finished my studies during the COVID pandemic.
So online.
All of it was online,
Oh,
except for the
alright.
graduation. The graduation was offline. We still had to like wear masks for that. So that was an interesting experience. But yeah, I mean, it was online. I was living on campus at the time. I was here, like in the student dormitory, but
Alright, okay.
yeah. And I would say that's, yeah, I learned a lot. I felt like at the time, reading a lot about social issues related to language, reading about things like discourse analysis, like a lot of that really helped open my worldview, and it really helped me understand and get a better political understanding of the world as well, which was like a bonus while I was studying. So I remember reading about a lot of things that were very interesting. I had a great thesis advisor, Ibu Nurul Jojima. Sorry, I forget how to pronounce her name. I'm so sorry if you're watching this. But she was incredibly helpful in guiding me in my thesis. And I mean, there was definitely challenges, but yeah, I learned so many valuable things in my studies there.
All right. So how does it feel to live here? Like, are you happy or how? Maybe.
Yeah, it's been great. I mean, there's definitely culture shocks that I've had to get adjusted to. But I feel like overall, I feel like here in Indonesia compared to where I'm from in the US, sometimes it feels like things are more relaxed. I mean, in some ways, yes, things can be busy and hectic, but I feel like in a way, I don't know. I just feel like in some aspects of life, I feel like less pressure, and that's something that I like. That I feel like that people on average are generally, friendlier and care more about like having respectful discussions compared to like in the U.S. where people can be a lot more like they want to confront and get angry. And, so.
Okay, so I wonder, sir, this is my personal question ya. How can you be a young lecturer that is so fun? Karena ya, Sobat Inspirasi, beliau ini kalau setiap ngajar tuh kayak ada aja gebrakannya gitu. And what I really remember was when in a speaking class in the fourth floor di gedung Rektorat Lama atau GRL, there is no lift and you brought a microphone and also a speaker ya.
I did.
Yeah. Wow, it was so interesting, right? So where do you get the inspiration for these learning methods?
Okay. I'm like, oh yeah, I brought that. Okay.
Yeah.
I think I remember the reason too. Yeah. So for me, like, I've been inspired by my some lecturers I've had in the US. Now, I think for the most part, none of them used microphones unless it was a big classroom, like a lecture hall, right? Like you have like a big room that's, enough for like 100 people. But yeah, I had some lecturers I had a German lecturer for my introduction to German class who was really fun. He would like have us do speaking exercises where we would have these practice conversations. He would sing in class. He would have us sing in class. And he was very extroverted and like interactive. And I remember every day coming to that class and just like smiling and like seeing my classmates and just wanting to like laugh and smile. And I had some other lecturers too. I had another lecturer from who taught a sociology class that I took. And when we came into the class, there was always some interactive media. So she'd have at the beginning of class, she'd have like a music video playing, a music video that was related to the topic that we're going to talk about. So if the topic was like, relationship problems, right? Then she'd have a video of like a music video that was related to that topic. And, I think for me, when I teach, a lot of times I've thought about like, I want to teach like if I were the student, I want to teach in a way that like if I were a student, I would be interested in this topic. And I feel like for me, when I teach classes, I'm teaching my classes, when I'm planning my lessons, I think a lot about like, how can I make this engaging for the students? How can I make it interesting? Because I don't know, for me, it's really hard for me if I just talk the whole time and there's no interaction, like I'm gonna
Really
start to get bored.
Yes.
So,
So ya jadi bener-bener kreatif banget, was so creative ya, so creative. Karena kita tuh jadi nggak bosen, nggak cuma ngedengerin gitu ya Sobat Aspirasi, jadi bisa berinteraksi langsung dengan teman-teman dan juga dengan materi pembelajaran yang luar biasa. Alright, so what is the challenges when you teaching here?
yeah, I think for me, one challenge, right, one is coming up with ideas for the lessons.
Ideas,
So
alright.
maybe when I go into class, it seems very like, it might seem for some of my students, it might seem when I teach a lesson, it's already like well prepared or it's, you know, very smooth for the most part. But for me, sometimes it takes a lot of time to think about, okay, how can I make this, more interactive or interesting. So that's probably one of the biggest challenges is coming up with ideas, even just discussions. Okay, let's say I want my students to talk about the environment.
Yeah.
Okay, how can I make discussion questions that will get them to want to have a conversation, right? Because there are some questions that you could just answer with yes,
Or
no,
no. Yeah.
or short answers. So that's probably a big challenge. And maybe the other thing is, and I think this is just the challenge for any lecturers, if you have to teach a lot of classes, like you have to teach more, especially more than like 18 units. Like if you're teaching 20, I know some lecturers who have taught 30 units in a semester. Like that takes a lot of effort and time management skills.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd say for me, it's just managing a lot of classes and coming up with lessons that, you know, are fun and interactive. Those are probably some of the biggest challenges. But when they work, when you can make a lesson that is fun and interactive, that, in my opinion, that makes teaching so worth it. So,
All right.
yeah.
So, by the way, what is your view about the Faculty of Cultural Studies and also the English Literature students, especially as we know ya, itu biasanya disebut dengan FIB atau Fakultas Ilmu Bebas, and also FCS or Faculty of Cultural Skena, because they are free to express themselves, and also they can dye their hair, and also can express their outfit and so on. So, it is similar to the study abroad, or
yeah. So that's an interesting thing that you brought up. Yeah. So I guess for me, I come from the US. So generally, I've almost never seen any student like wear something that like would surprise me, because
yeah.
I come from somewhere where you can wear shorts and sandals.
yeah.
Like you can wear a tank top, like you can wear like a lot of things. So it's especially like in the US, I think Australia also has a very relaxed dress code. So for me, it's not surprising, but I know some of my students, there was one class that I taught that I started to have a discussion on this. The topic was fashion. And then we had a conversation in class about like, you know, the security, right? Stopping people if they're, you know, wearing sandals or wearing, you know, not dressed appropriately. And I think that's also something that's an interesting conversation to have. But yeah, I feel like teaching students, it's in Sastra English, it's been very fun. And I realized, especially this last semester, actually, that planning, like if I can plan the lesson well, for my experience personally, I feel like, if a lesson is well planned, if it's made interactive, if you can find the right questions, students can be really responsive and enthusiastic. And yeah, so I felt like, it's overall students are quite,
Yeah.
I feel like if you can find ways to draw their interest, I think you can make the class really fun, and your students can be, you know, very, I don't know what to say, like very interactive, right?
Yeah.
They can be very engaged in your materials if you can, right, make it interesting, find ways to make it relevant for them. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So in my opinion, also a lot of the students of English literature, especially in my batch 2022, including me, are so quiet in the class, right? Yeah. All right. So what is your activity during holiday like this?
Yeah. So right now it's a holiday. I'm just currently in the process of moving to another part of Malang.
Oh.
But yeah, and aside from that, I'm actually during this time I've been preparing lessons actually for a class in English literature. I'm working on there's one lesson that I taught this last semester that I'm going to be teaching again this semester.
Okay.
And yeah, I've been working on that, trying to improve that to make it, you know, more fun. And aside from that, I've been trying to do some reading. So I've been reading about something, I forget the title. It's like Air dan Perambuan or something, but it's about the water sources in Malang. So you have like what Sumber, I forget the names, Berantas, but there's there's many different water sources in Malang, and it's this it's written, I think, by, I don't know if they're activists, but they're written by some people in Malang that are looking about the significance of water, I mean, to society and especially to women. And that's been really interesting to read about. So reading about current problems with Malang's water issues, right? That a lot of the water that we use to shower, that we use to, or water that we drink, is not always stable unless we make sure to struggle and make sure that water is protected, right? So that it doesn't get polluted or damaged by pollution or anything like that.
Wow, it was so interesting. So in this holiday, you are preparing and studying for teaching, or?
Yeah, and I've been trying to make a trip, but we'll see. I'm in the process. Like I said, I'm in the process of moving. So, that's what I've been up to.
So, several years in Indonesia. Have you ever coming back to California?
Yeah, I visited twice.
Oh, twice.
Yeah, so I visited twice, and both times were last year. So, it's before I visited home last year. It had been like over 4 years that I had not gone back to the U.S. So there's definitely some differences there.
Okay, all right. So during this holiday, are you exploring the Indonesian or Malang maybe?
Yeah. So I've gone around quite a bit about around Malang. I hope that that's maybe if I have some time. I went to Surabaya a while ago, but yeah, I'm hoping that I can go see some more natural nature places.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think you have to go to Bromo. You know Bromo? Once in a lifetime, yeah. Have you ever been
I have
there?
not. I've wanted to. I think twice I got invited to an event, which when I was told was at Bromo, but actually it was not at Bromo. It's at some hotel that's near Bromo, some event.
Yeah.
So some resort or something. So I have not been to the actual mountain yet. I just have to prepare myself, to wake up early.
Okay. All right. So as we know, English has developed quite rapidly among Indonesian students and also society today. What do you think about using this language as a native speaker?
Using
English in Indonesia right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of conversations to be had about that. I did write a bit about it in my thesis. I talked about like so Inggris and anak jaksa.
So Inggris.
Because I think that's an interesting topic where you have different issues. One like there's like inequality and access to English education. On the other hand, right, there's also topics of like world national pride and local languages and how it's important to speak Indonesian and speak diverse languages. But yeah, I feel like when I came to Indonesia, I guess I wasn't expecting much on people being able to speak English, but I guess what I noticed is I felt like on average people were more proficient and fluent than I expected. I would find when I first came here to Indonesia.
All right. So do you have any unique experience in Malang?
Like culture shock or?
Yes, culture shock maybe.
I think when I first came here, I remember there was one time where I was near the Soekarno-Hatta Bridge.
Yeah.
It's it's this bridge that's near Brawijaya University. And I remember just one time I was walking, I don't know where I was going. I was walking to the Suhat Street.
All right.
And I remember as I was crossing the street, someone drove, was turning, and the person in the passenger seat, it was this man, this middle-aged man, yelling from his car window. He rolled down his window and he said, "Hello, mister. Hello, mister."
All right.
Right. So I've experienced that sometimes, but I feel like now, it's just, yeah.
Wow.
Oh, and there was one time this was like the first time that happened that I went to I think an Islamic middle school in Malang. I was invited to just give like a short lesson there just for like one day, And I remember after the lesson was done, a lot of the students, of course, they're shy. They're middle school students. It's a what is it called? Like a girls' school.
Yeah.
So they were like really shy. But after the lesson was over, all the students, they're going to their break. Two students come up and they bring their notebook.
Yes.
And they ask me for an autograph.
All right. Wow, it's so funny.
Yeah, that was I've never experienced something like that. Like I'm not a celebrity. But
Okay.
yeah.
All right. So one of my friends told me that she met you at the Pasar Blimbing ya.
Oh really?
Ya, jadi kayak wow, menarik banget ya Sobat Aspirasi karena beliau ini ke Pasar Blimbing. Bayangin ada seorang bule belanja ke Pasar Blimbing sendirian. So, how do you interact there? Do you use Indonesian or Google Translate maybe?
Oh, when I go there, like I mean, yeah, I usually try to use a little Javanese. So I'll say pinten, right? Or
Wow.
or piro, right? Depending on the age of the person. Just because I'm hoping they'll give me a better price.
Okay.
Yeah, I haven't gone there a lot because there's a vegetable store that's closer to me. But yeah, I've been there, a few times.
All right. So, did anyone want to take photo with you? In the
When I
tra-
go to the
Yeah.
market, so far, no, interestingly,
Oh.
but maybe if I went to like a village or something, that might happen. But I don't get that. Honestly, I haven't experienced that a lot. People asking to take a picture. Maybe if I go to like a tourist spot.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah.
if I go to a tourist location, like that's happened. Like there's like a middle-aged woman, like ibu, like, and they call and then they say Mister, right, and they ask for a picture. But it's, I mean, I guess I should say maybe thankfully, so it doesn't happen, often. And yeah, because I think in Malang people maybe are more used to seeing bule or something, so maybe it's less surprising versus like if I were to go to like a small village in the middle of nowhere. Of course, people are going to be surprised to see someone who looks different.
So when in the market, do you bargain like mothers do?
Like what?
Bargain.
Yeah,
Tawar menawar,
yeah, I know
bargain.
bargain, but bargain what? Oh, bargain
Like
sale.
yeah. the
No,
market.
I think one time I tried to bargain, but I didn't realize that was like the person already gave like the lowest price.
Oh, right. Alright.
Because at the time the price of eggs had gone up. It was 30,000 at the time. And then I tried to like bargain, and then I think she didn't understand that I was trying to bargain. So I just like, okay, I'll just pay for it. Like whatever the price is. I think, you know what, if I go to the pasar, if I go to the market, it's already cheaper than Super Indo. So like, if I pay a little more, it's okay. It's good for them. So
Yeah. Okay, so I'm very impressed because your knowledge of local culture, like in Malang, was so very broad. For one of the example, like when in the speaking class, you're talking about check sound. Check sound, you know check sound.
Yeah.
So check sound adalah salah satu budaya di Malang Selatan ya, dengan sound yang besar-besar itu. And I wonder, wow, dari mana Sir Grady itu tahu seperti ini, hal-hal seperti ini?
I heard
You
it.
know. Oh, you heard it.
And then my friend told me that's horek, and I'm like, okay.
Horek, yes, horek sound. All right. So
yeah.
do you know berot?
Yeah, I know that too. I went to it was like it was like my friend's cousin's wedding, and they had like, I don't know what the term is. Is it biduan or something? Like
Yeah,
the person,
biduan,
like the
right.
singer, right? The woman who's like paid to like sing
Yes.
and like be like an entertainer like on the stage. And I got invited to go on the stage, and then they were like playing music, and they gave me that's the mask. I don't know what it's
Oh
called.
ya, caploan biasanya ya namanya kalau nggak
Yeah.
bantengan.
Yeah,
Oh,
bantengan.
bantengan.
Yeah. And then my friend was like showing me like, oh, you just do this and then you move like that. So I
wow.
tried it once. Oh yeah, that was unique experience.
Okay. So do you apply linguistic in understanding the culture here? And what are the examples?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes that still comes to my mind when I was learning Bahasa Indonesia. Like my knowledge of linguistics was very helpful, especially like in maybe morphology and phonology. I'd say like, yeah, especially phonology, I would think about that like, okay, like in Javanese. Like, so for me, like I had difficulty like understanding, because if you look at Javanese spelling, like how people talk to each other, you're not going to be able to know how a word is pronounced. One example, right, is the letter E, right, in Bahasa Indonesia, right?
Yeah.
You have and right, a and
Oh, yeah.
and you can't always know, right? Is it geger or geger, right?
All right. Like loro and loro.
Yeah, but with
yeah.
linguistics, right, we can use that. Okay, so geger is the schwa, right?
Yes.
Geger is like the sound.
Using
right?
the APA symbol,
Yeah,
right?
so using APA symbols, right? So having that like APA, like IPS or IPA,
Oh, yeah, IPA.
the International Phonetic Alphabet, right? Having that in my mind, that that's right. That can be helpful, at least in like maybe not. Yeah, it can just be helpful in understanding and being able to hear and notice differences. So
All
yeah.
right. So what are interesting facts about Indonesia that you think outsiders doesn't know about it? What is that? Oh.
Yeah. So what outsiders
Yes. Like
don't.
foreigner doesn't know the fact about Indonesian if they doesn't go here.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I think one. I mean, it's maybe a fact you could easily find on Google, but it's the fourth most populated country. I think just maybe how much like cultural diversity there is, and that's something even for me, I've hardly experienced it because I've spent most of my time on Java, and most people I know I've met are Javanese. I mean, I know many of my students are from other parts of Indonesia, like not just Jakarta, but like from like Kalimantan, Sumatra,
Yeah.
and Bali, and other places. But there's a lot of cultural diversity. There's a lot of amazing art and music that you can find, like outside of not just pop music, but you can find a lot of. I think that there's just a lot of art and culture,
maybe.
and not even just traditional, but even like modern music. Right? There's a lot of things that I found that I felt like some artists that I really like in Indonesia I like to listen to. So I think there's a lot that you could find there.
Maybe like Berot. Yeah, Berot. Outsider don't know about that until they go here. All right, so now we will play the game This or That. Wow. The contents are random, so you have to answer it quickly.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Ready?
All right. So, do you prefer porridge mixed or not?
Not
Not. All right. And then coffee or tea?
tea.
Mountain or beach? Beaches?
Mountain.
Mountain. And then when you sleep, are the lights on, off, or dim?
Off.
Off. Okay. What is the reason for choosing the answer?
Which one?
All of them.
All of them. Okay,
Yes.
mixed. Okay.
Mix. Why?
Okay. I'm not against anyone who wants to mix porridge. I know I've asked that question in class before to
Yeah.
students, and I know most people prefer mixed. I guess because maybe if it's hot, right, you mix it so then it's less hot, and then the flavor, the taste is more like, right, it's even out. Like that's what
Yeah.
people say, more merata.
Meratang.
I guess for me it's just like, okay, I have it mixed, and then if I eat, and then I can eat the toppings first, because I like the toppings. I want to eat the toppings, and then if I already eat all the toppings, then I just add more toppings, and then there we go.
alright.
Then I don't have that problem. I don't know. It's just a habit that I have for me.
Okay. So coffee or tea?
Coffee or tea?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Why?
my body's really sensitive to caffeine, and tea usually has less caffeine, so I prefer tea.
Okay. And then mountain or beach? Beaches.
Yeah, I guess for me, sometimes I'm not the biggest fan of sands, because if you drop your phone in sands, or if you have a camera, I don't have one, but if I had a camera, like, then you get sand in the lens. It's just, it's really hard to get out from what I've heard. So, I guess in a mountain, I like hiking. I mean, I like going up hills and things like that. That's fun and rewarding. And the beach, I feel like, it's nice too. But I guess I also have a fear of swimming in the beach, because I'm afraid of getting taken by the waves. So, yeah.
So which mountain have you ever been to go in Indonesia?
I haven't been to. Oh wait, there's one. Ijen.
What?
Yeah, Ijen.
Oh,
Wait.
Ijen. Yeah,
Yeah,
Ijen.
Yeah, Ijen.
Oh,
That's. Yeah, I guess that's the only one I've been to. I guess because from what I've seen online, there are a lot of big mountains, but some of them they take multiple days. And for me personally, if I want to go to the top of a mountain, I like to go like in one day, right? Come back.
All right, but you have to go to Bromo once
Yeah,
again. Yeah,
Bromo.
once in a lifetime. All right.
Yeah.
So moving on to the next game, you have to describe or just mention a word about these things. All right. So the first one is Malang.
Cold.
Cold. All right. You have to answer it quickly, right?
quickly, okay.
Okay. Faculty of Cultural Studies.
Smart.
Indonesia.
Beautiful.
All right. English Literature.
Amazing. Like if it's one word, I'm like,
All right. And then for the last one, you have to describe it. University of Brawijaya. What do you think about it?
University of Brawijaya.
Yeah.
Big campus.
A big campus. All right. So now please mention 3 until 5 slang of Indonesian slang that you know with the meaning.
Okay. 3 to 5
Yes.
slang. Yeah. 3 to 5 slang. Yeah. Man, it's like, oh man, I should have prepared for this. Yeah, no, I mean I know there's some that like come to my come to my minds. I'm trying to think of ones that are appropriate. I mean I know yeah, let's see. Skena.
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 All right.
Okay, so
Skena.
skena, yeah, skena is interesting because it's like not because I know I've heard it comes from the English word scene.
Yeah, yeah.
But if you look up in English on Google scene kids, scene refers to like goth, right? Like goth, like you know, with the black, like the colored black hair and like the you know the face. Sometimes like the makeup that's like all like black and dark, like emo. Whereas skena here, right? It's like a different. It's kind of like this Western style of clothing, and also referring to people who like certain indie music artists like Hindia and others. So there's skena. It's like now in my mind there's yeah, there's this was an interesting one I learned from my students. It was the noodles and the nopals.
Oh, the noodles, yeah. What is the noodles?
The noodles.
Can you explain it?
It's just I think it's a negative stereotype about like women's fashion and like the nopals is like the companion to the noodles. And I still don't understand because when I Google it, I just get more confused by the answer. But I guess it's like somebody like maybe who's considered to have tacky or like not super fashionable, and they eat at mie gacoan for some reason.
Yeah. Jadi biasanya ini spesifik ke some distinct or regency, right? Jadi kayak outfit orang-orang kabupaten gitu biasanya kalau di bahasa Indonesia itu ya, the noodles. Alright, first again, the last one. Slang.
Yeah, Indonesian. Yeah. There's definitely other examples. I'm trying to think like, is goes slang or
What
no?
is that?
Goes.
Goes? What does that mean?
Like ride a bicycle.
Oh, it's not the literal meaning of goes.
Goes I think means like ride a bicycle, like ride a bicycle. No, I
okay.
think there's there's a lot of abbreviations.
Okay, maybe for me deh.
Yeah.
For me deh. Udah Indonesian banget ini. You know YTTA? YTTA?
No.
Yang tahu-tahu aja.
Oh,
nah,
yeah. If you
in
know,
English,
you know.
yeah, if you know, you know.
Okay.
YTTA. Terus bucin, you know bucin?
Yeah.
Like sim.
Budak cinta, right? It's
Budak
love slave.
cinta, yeah.
So because you're so in love that like you.
So do you know baper? Bawa perasaan, like sensitive.
Yeah, baper. Oh yeah, baper.
Baper.
Yeah, yeah. So baper.
All right.
I would say maybe there was another one. There was what, Cemil.
Oh yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
But like no one in the U.S. says Cemil or even abbreviates it to CMIIW. Like there's that.
So it's just only used in Indonesia.
Yeah, there's a lot of Indonesian,
Slang.
English words that are not like used. So for example, WFO.
WFO? What is
you know,
that?
WFH, WFO.
Oh, WFO. Oh, yeah.
So work from office, like like when I first heard that, it was funny because it's like, well, when you're working, aren't you in the office? Like if you're, but yeah.
Okay.
So yeah.
All right. Wow. All the answers are interesting. And then, so is there anything that makes you want to stay here for longer?
I think one of the students, I would say like, teaching in English literature and also English education. that gives me the motivation to, keep working, keep making lessons like fun and creative. Like, I think if I didn't have like those positive reactions from my students, I think I would have like already left here a long time ago. Because I mean, yeah, I enjoy like the interactions in class and preparing something, and then getting that getting positive feedback and seeing students progress and improve. And yeah, I feel like very comfortable here. Like, even healthcare, and while there's things I know people can criticize about, healthcare in Indonesia, I feel like compared to the US, it's much better. You're much better if you have medical problems, it's much better to be in Indonesia. Like, even if you're like not financially stable, it's often better to be in Indonesia if you have serious health problems. I don't, but like,
So how do you plan to stay here? How long?
I think, there will be a time, maybe where I feel like, okay, I think I'll always be teaching, but like, I think like, okay, I want to go and start a new journey. And I think that time, at some point, that time will come. It could be that I'm in Indonesia for the rest of my life. I'm not counting that out, but it's also possible that I could go somewhere else. But for now, for this year, I'm still here. I'm still teaching.
Just enjoying to be here, right?
Yeah.
All right. So if you could give the message or the tips for foreigners who want to study and come to Indonesia, what would you say?
Yeah. So if you if you're a foreigner and you'd like to come to Indonesia, I would highly recommend just learning at least a little bit of Indonesian before you come here. And I mean, you can do that, of course, by watching videos and studying them and taking notes and practicing. But I would say, of course, most importantly, like, find somebody that you can speak with, whether that's somebody you meet online, or if maybe in where you live, maybe there's Indonesian people or an Indonesian restaurant, you could go there and see if the people there speak Indonesian, and talk with them, get some practice, get some familiarity, because if you already know a little bit about speaking Indonesian, that will help you prepare to come here. And yeah, just be ready for culture shock. Just some examples. Things are often late, including formal events. Not always, but there are many cases where like there's a formal event and it starts 30 minutes late, maybe even longer, maybe an hour, and in some extreme cases 2 hours.
Have you ever experienced it?
There was one time where there was a guest speaker from abroad, and then it took like 2 hours, and all of my students were there too, or some of my students were there too, like waiting, and I was waiting, and then and now they're but yeah, that's an extreme example. And also last minute. So that's something that was more of a culture shock for me when I came here. Sometimes there was like whether it was when I was studying or being a lecturer, and it's not something specific to UB, so it's just that I've noticed like all over Indonesia, like suddenly there might be this last minute change, like, oh, there's this event tomorrow and you have to come to this event, and it's it's very last minute. And I think that when I was first here, it was difficult for me to adapt to that. If I was given information, or I was told I need to do something in a very short amount of time, very suddenly. But now I understand more how things work, so I'm much more used to that. So I'd say just be prepared for last minute changes, and also for things being late. But also there's a lot to enjoy. I feel like a lot of great things about being in Indonesia, and I mean, people here are often very friendly and supportive. So yeah.
Jadi emang bener ya, jam karet biasanya Indonesia tuh disebutnya sama orang-orang kayak jam karet, selalu ngaret, selalu molor gitu. Alright, what are your future plans for the academic maybe?
Yeah. So for me, I mean, I'm gonna continue teaching. I feel like I like that more, like sometimes than studying. No, I do like studying. I think for me right now, I want to keep improving my lessons. Like I want them to be better. Like for me, I am not just, I don't know, like I always want the lessons to be more engaging and interactive. And so yeah, I've done a little bit of reading too. I also want to write, like for me, like in order to be better at teaching, right, it's not just through practice, but also, you can read about teaching methods. You can talk to other lecturers. You can talk to students. Right? You can ask your students, right? Like, what could make this lesson better? And I feel like with all of those insights and knowledge, I'm hoping that I can be an even better teacher. Right, that I can be a better teacher than I am now. I really hope that I can say that, 10 years from now. So, yeah.
All right, yeah. So the last one, closing statement, you can say anything to Sobat Aspirasi?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anything that you want to say? Yeah.
Okay.
To the viewers.
Yeah. So if you're a student, you're starting your skripsi, or you have some big assignment, right? Semangat, you can do it. I know in Indonesia there's something like, there's some phrase that's like sempurna lebih no.
What is it?
Or something like lebih baik selesai daripada sempurna.
Yeah, skripsi yang baik adalah skripsi yang selesai gitu
yang selesai,
biasanya.
Yeah. So yeah, nothing has to be perfect, and I know there's a tendency, especially like even for me when I make lessons, sometimes I'm like, oh, it has to be like this, and I think just remember to be kind to yourself and not put too much pressure on yourself to make something perfect. Just make sure that it's just finish it, and you will be able to get through whatever it is you're going through. I know it because for me there were times too when I was studying and I had my doubts or I was anxious, but you can absolutely will finish your big projects.
All right.
So yeah.
All right, wow, so inspiring and also very insightful our discussion today with Sir Grady. And yeah, thank you so much, Sir Grady, for being here. And our discussion today hopefully can bring benefit to all of us, especially to Sobat Aspirasi. And don't forget to Sobat Aspirasi to like, comment, and subscribe. And see you in another episode. Bye-bye.